This Curvv is the first Tata car to get a petrol GDI engine, and that Curvv is the first diesel car in India to get a dual clutch automatic transmission. And now I'm going to cut the chase by straight away giving both of them the beans to tell you how these engines perform. Let's start by testing the 0 to 100 km/h acceleration of this car into first gear. Let's actually turn on the camera because we can. Let's get into sport drive mode as well. Revving the motor, rev still almost 5000 RPM, no 5500 RPM, and off we go. Bogs down.
Sport drive mode activated.
Bogs down because of the traction control system, which cannot be turned off, and then obviously wheel spin on upshift into third gear. 5.8 seconds it's constantly doing to 60 km/h, and it reaches 100 km/h in 12.47 seconds, which is quite slow. And then you can see it's kind of a handful around the corners as well because of the weight of this car. So 12.47 seconds to reach 0 to 100 km/h is actually very slow. It's not that impressive. Now, if I could make the perfect shift, I would say the time would come to around 12 seconds, but there's a slight slope, which means it's getting an advantage. Roads are not straight here at all in Goa, which is a bit of a problem, but we're going to do another run to see how accurate the time is. It's not a fast car. Outright acceleration isn't that impressive, and if you notice, the steering wheel is pointing in the wrong direction. That is also a bit of an issue. So we're going to take a quick U-turn. I think that's a flat road. It's a nice clean road. We shall do that test there. So let me quickly talk about the engine. I had to take a U-turn here, I forgot. 1.2 liter 3-cylinder engine. Why is there no 4-cylinder engine here? I don't understand. Only I like the blind view monitor here. You can actually put it right there also if you want, and turning radius is actually decent. There, wheel spin. I don't know why Tata Motors does not let you turn off traction control. That is very, very wrong. At times you want the traction control to be off. In front wheel drive, nothing happens if traction control doesn't turn off, because it's not like you're going to oversteer and spin. It's just going to cause more understeer. So in terms of acceleration, well, outright not that great, but the car is very smooth. The engine is actually very smooth. We're going to come to a halt here. This is another opportunity to launch it. Here we go. Reset this. Yeah, speed. Revving the motor, and off we go. Bogs down, yeah, very fast because of the stupid traction control system, which cannot be turned off here. And see, gearbox is also a bit sluggish. Constantly it's doing similar timing, which is 12.82 seconds. Again, that missed shift because it did not slot into third very fast means that this car actually goes from 0 to 100 km/h around 12 seconds, which is much slower than the competition, because the competition has a lot more displacement, a lot more cylinders, and along with that a lot more power as well. This car is competing with the Creta. The Creta's turbo petrol engine is a 1.5 litre unit, 160 horsepower compared to 123 horsepower here. 250 Newton meters of torque compared to 253 Newton meters of torque. Anyways, I don't remember the torque numbers now, even though I just drove the Alcazar, which means I'm so tired these days I can't remember. But here you have 225 Newton meters of torque, but there's a small catch here, and that catch is that this car actually goes from 225 Newton meters to 250 Newton meters under heavy acceleration in sport mode when you are in third gear or above. That is known as a torque boost or something of that sort. So that's also there in this car. Engine is definitely quite refined, and I'm just going to turn off this right now because we are low on battery and I need to do it with the diesel as well. So we're just going to keep it on the side. Let's take a quick turn. Body roll is there. Obviously there is some bit of body roll, so not very enthusiastic in that regard because of the roll in this car. And there are 3 drive modes. There's eco, there's city, and there's obviously sport. It drives much better in sport mode. The steering actually has a bit more heft than it's needed, so that's not very reassuring here because you don't need that much weight. It's like you're resting the steering wheel, and then obviously it gets very dirty very fast, and the steering is also a bit on the bigger side. However, performance is way better compared to the 1.2 Revertron petrol engine because this gets direct injection. Finally, modern petrol engine. Turbocharging is there. Turbo lag is well contained actually. It feels very smooth to drive. Mid-range is also good, and red lines around 6000 RPM. Not a high revving motor. Mid-range is phenomenal here, but efficiency is not that great. The problem is that the clutch it has way too much of a play, and the gearbox is not slick shifting at all. Yeah, not a slick gearbox here. Has some notchy feel to it. and that means that you don't really enjoy driving it in terms of the manual. And the automatic, well, that is also a bit sluggish, which I'll talk about when we are driving the diesel. So much traffic right now just because one Eco has 0 horsepower, it cannot move at all, so we are kind of stuck. So it's not very enjoyable to go through the gears because of how this gearbox is. However, this car is sort of tall geared. If it was slightly more tall geared, now it could have been faster to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, let me downshift. Come on. Making a quick overtake, well, you need to plan because this car is not that powerful as well. And obviously, because of the voice commands, I'm just going to change the drive mode right now. Listen to this, okay?
Economy drive mode activated.
Eco is also not that great. Okay, their collision warning, it is kind of oversensitive, this ADAS in this car. So it has got all these features from ADAS perspective.
City drive mode activated.
City drive mode is a good balance between power and economy. Lane departure warning. Actually, it is very sluggish to get into third gear. That's a bit of a problem. Ride quality is very good though. Low speeds is not the best, but as you speed up now, the ride becomes quite good. I like the ride of Tata cars. I think they do a phenomenal job in terms of the ride of their vehicle because the suspension does a phenomenal job of absorbing almost everything in its stride with a lot of ease. So that's good. And the steering is also having quite a lot of weight to it, so it's a fun car to drive. Only thing is this steering is just not aligned. I don't know why it's not aligned, so that's a bit of a weird thing. We just stop here to launch again. Before that, let me get into sport drive mode because that's
Economy
the best drive mode. Shut up, don't educate
Sport
me
drive
about
mode
which mode it is. I can see
activated.
it here. Okay, let's launch it, leaving the clutch very slowly so it doesn't bog down. There the launch was much smoother here. So this car actually has a lot of wheel spin because there's a lot more torque, 225 Newton meters compared to 170 Newton meters in the 1.2 liter Revertron petrol engine, which is obviously quite old and dated now. Over bumps, yeah, it just takes everything in its stride beautifully well. But this car has a 44 liter fuel tank. It should have had a bigger fuel tank because yes, fuel efficiency is not the best here. It will return single digit numbers if you drive spiritedly. If you don't even drive spiritedly, again, it is not going to give you great fuel efficiency because this is a car which has an engine that is not efficient, simply put, because Tata Motors is not able to make great petrol engines yet compared to say Suzuki or Hyundai. And even the turbocharged petrol engines which are coming from say Volkswagen, the 1 liter 3-cylinder engine from Volkswagen, the E8 211, that is phenomenal, and this just doesn't feel in the same league, unfortunately, because power, although it's there, it doesn't feel that refined. There are some flat spots in the power delivery here and there, and that's a bit of a hiccup here. Now, as far as petrol engines go, this is by far the best petrol engine from Tata Motors. There's no denying the fact. This car comes with, I think, 3 years, 1 lakh kilometer warranty. I think the warranty is better with the EV version. It gets 1.25 lakh kilometer warranty or something of that sort, and battery warranty is separate. That is 8 years, 1.6 lakh kilometers. This is definitely a big improvement in terms of the petrol engine. There's no denying the fact. But compared to the competition, I don't know why Tata Motors has to be down in terms of power, in terms of torque, in terms of various other aspects, because I definitely feel they should have tried to match Hyundai and Kia here by offering a lot more power, because Hyundai offers all types of engines. Their diesel engine is having similar numbers as the Curvv diesel, but the petrol engine is absolutely mind-blowing. It is like 3 seconds faster to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. That is big difference. That's a huge difference, and that's also because they don't hesitate when it comes to giving much more output. As soon as I give the indicator, now this camera turns off. I was wondering who's turning off the camera again and again. Okay, let's corner it enthusiastically. Yeah, sort of front end washes out, but then I honestly feel that this car deserves a bigger petrol engine, a 1.5 liter unit with at least 150 horsepower, because the competition is doing it. Like if you talk about the Taycan, if you talk about the Kushaq, 1.5 liter engine, phenomenal engine. Again, that's 4 cylinders. Same, the Hyundai Kia engine is also 4 cylinder, 150 horsepower there. We need more power here. I mean, it's smooth, it's refined, it's punchy enough, it gives you good performance, it's decently quick too, considering the weight and all those things. For 1.2 liter engine to take this car from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 12 seconds is not bad at all. So I won't crib much on that, but I think the diesel is a diesel, so we'll jump into the diesel right away. Okay, now it's time to drive the diesel. First things first, I need to remove this plastic, yeah, and here as well. I don't know why this plastic is still here. But let's remove this. The thing with this car is that because it's a coupe, rear window is very small. You really can't see much from here, so you have to rely on the camera. So I'm just going to turn on the camera right now. The car is already in sport mode and off we go. Let's see till when this 3D camera, oh, it already shut itself. Anyways, we have this driver rear view monitor. I think they've tightened this particular panel now, because earlier it was very loose, so it would tend to accidentally get pressed for the horn. And straight away around the corners, I can tell you with a lot of confidence that this car definitely feels better than the petrol in terms of the steering as well as the suspension, because suspension seems to be on the stiffer side here without a doubt, but the steering feels a bit too much in terms of heft. I'm actually waiting to get a flat patch of road, so there is where we are going to do the acceleration test. Now this car gets a DCT gearbox, so all the 3 engines get a 6-speed manual and also get the option of a 7-speed dual clutch automatic gearbox, which is not really needed in such a car, and I'll tell you why. Before that, we are going to launch here, so let me reset this. Yeah, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Do not press accelerator and brake together, and off we go. Okay, it doesn't take off because of this. Anyways, now let's go, come on. That is actually faster than the petrol engine because of the better torque, but slight slope here of 2.9% and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 11.2 seconds, making this car much faster. In fact, the diesel with the manual would be so much better. So all the 3 engines, the 1.2 liter hopeless engine, the petrol one, the older one, that as well as the new one, the Hyperion, I don't know how they pronounce it, but we'll just call it the GDI. That 1.2, which is phenomenal when compared to the older engine, and this 1.5 liter diesel, which is I think known as the Cryotech. All of them, okay, listen to this. Actually, suspension is a bit noisy. Both of them get a 6-speed manual as well as a 7-speed DCT gearbox, and obviously the manual would be my choice any day, because obviously the manual is going to be better. I can accelerate faster than that, but the diesel is actually faster than the petrol, which goes to show that Tata Motors makes great diesel engines, which are also very efficient. You can remove a mileage of around 18 to 19 kilometers from this engine when you drive it, not sedately, smoothly. Sedately is when you are drugged or something of that sort. Anyways, feels better to drive when compared to the petrol, feels better in terms of acceleration, torque rush is better. The only problem here is this freaking gearbox. Yeah, this gearbox is the biggest fly in the ointment. Let me explain. Before that, let's stop. Brakes are actually good, yeah, but the ABS seems to be a bit oversensitive here. So this car has also got paddle shifters with this automatic gearbox, which is a good thing, so you can manually take control of things. Come on, give me a downshift. Why are you not giving me a downshift now? We are in second. Let's see till where it goes. It upshifts at 4000 RPM. Thankfully, there is no soft limiter here, which is a good thing. Yeah, there's no soft limiter in this car. So it revs completely all the way when you're in neutral as well. I mean, all the engines do that. So Tata Motors has not gone doing that soft limiter thingy, but they have removed the button for traction control, which is very disappointing because traction control really bogs down the acceleration of this car, and it bogs down quite a lot, because of which it's not able to accelerate as fast and as smoothly as it should be doing. So this is a 1.5 liter engine which makes 117 PS of power and 260 Newton meters of torque, which is actually quite impressive because that's usually the norm here. Hyundai's, okay, they're collision warning. Hyundai's engine also does something similar in terms of output, but we have more torque here and we also have more weight. So that's something which is manageable because of the engine being quite good here. This gear lever has no physical connections. It's shift by wire actually. And the problem here is that it's like other Tata cars, sometimes when you want to slot a gear, it does not get slotted. Yeah, it just fumbles there. So you have to push it once or twice or maybe even more times. This one is a wet clutch actually with active cooling. It has got machine learning. It has got self-healing mechanism. Boss, who hurt you in the first place that you have to go and heal yourself? So in terms of what it has on paper, it's very advanced, but all those technologies and yet you are worse than an AMT box. How? Because this gearbox is right now in machine learning stage. It's trying to learn when it needs to change, when it doesn't need to change. It fumbles a lot. The gearbox is all over the place most of the time and it's not smooth. There's jerkiness to it. So this gearbox is actually not ready for the market, I feel. And I don't know how Tata Motors has managed to make a dual clutch automatic gearbox feel like an AMT box, because it's just not fast with shifts. It's very confused. It's very jerky. It just feels out of place, not ready for the market, unfortunately. But the manual is phenomenal because obviously the car feels much faster when you drive the manual. Yeah, I know it is a bit notchy. Like I was driving the petrol today and I felt very notchy, especially slotting into third felt quite notchy. But then I'm not going to complain much because this diesel engine is amazing. A diesel is a diesel is a diesel. Amazing performance, really torquey, gives you the torque rush, gives you the performance. 44-liter tank here as well, which means fuel efficiency so good it will take you almost 700 kilometers per one tank of fuel. I've just gone ahead and connected Apple Maps right now because the maps are actually good. The screen quality is very impressive somehow till it doesn't glitch obviously. And I'm actually going to come into this menu here. Oh god, I am just like fumbling. Yeah, we have to press this button. Let's enter the map view. Now isn't that super cool? Which actually brings me to the price of the car, which I've not discussed yet. It actually starts at rupees 11.72 lakhs, which is good pricing for the base variant obviously. Now the base variant is priced quite attractively, but then a base is a base is a base. But since Tata Motors is sharing too many parts amongst all its cars, they can obviously come to a very attractive price point. Meanwhile, that base variant is obviously the 1.2 Revertron engine, which I will not recommend to you at all. Goes all the way to 22.88 lakhs for this particular car, which is a top-end diesel with the automatic, the dual clutch automatic transmission. Just save that money, opt for the manual, save around 1.5 lakh rupees, get the manual because the manual is just better. Then for the top-end petrol with the new GDI motor, that is 22.5 lakhs, which means that the price difference between the petrol and the diesel top ends is just rupees 38,000, which isn't much. So you end up paying rupees 1.5 lakhs more for the GDI engine over the Revertron, which is completely worth it. And there are 34 variants on offer. There's just way too many variants on offer. So let's get into the full map view. I don't know how it turned on its own. Lane departure warning is showing me right now. Yeah, just doing the wiper test because I like Tata Motors' wipers. Wipers are like very good in terms of quality. Look at the screen, it's cleaned in no time at all. So anyways, as soon as I give an indicator, the map view shuts and then yeah, it doesn't come back to the full map view, so I have to press it again. So few things which could be refined over time, maybe with the facelift they will do that. So as I see it, the diesel one is definitely better, but this gearbox is not good at all, at least for the moment. They need to improve it, and once they do that, I am sure the DCT would be the best in the segment because this is the only DCT with a diesel, and there's a reason why people don't do DCT with diesel, and now Tata Motors knows the reason because it just doesn't work. This EQC has actually become a three-wheeler right now, and we're going to accelerate again and let's go. This transmission keeps warning me only half the time. I don't know what's up with this transmission. Now obviously there are three drive modes. There's eco, there is normal, that's just the city mode, and there is obviously sport drive mode. Sport drive mode is sporty. Oh my god, exact same time, and you see there is like very minor slope here. Earlier there was no slope as well. So consistent performance in terms of what acceleration this car does. In terms of top speed, it will do somewhere around 150-160 kilometers per hour, and obviously it starts to become sluggish past 130 kilometers per hour. Now does it hold on to a gear? So we're going to come to a lower gear. Let's come into second, rev the nuts out of it, and it's just going to upshift at 4000 rpm, which is a bit too soon. So turbo lag is well contained, mid-range is very nice, top end is not there only at all. There is no top end in this diesel engine. And the problem with this engine, it's very noisy. There's too much drone inside the cabin. So refinement levels could be a lot better with this diesel engine. But unfortunately, Tata Motors has not been able to refine this engine much. And it definitely feels like a diesel engine completely. Now that you know how these cars are to drive, let's do a quick recap on the design and the interiors. I've already done a very detailed video of the Curvv highlighting all the positives and negatives of the car. You can click on the top right corner of the screen right now to see that video. Compared to the Curvv.ev, the petrol and diesel versions of the Curvv have a slightly different front end with a different grille and bumper. The alloy wheel design is also better here. However, the design of the front end is very similar to the Punch and Nexon, which is not so good. And it also has an exhaust which is out of sight. The rear design is differentiated from other Tata cars, which is such a good thing. And this car also has welcome and goodbye animations both at the front and rear, which is quite unique. The SUV coupe design though is a bit polarizing because you either love it or you don't. But it is definitely distinctive. That said, there's a big disadvantage of this sloping roofline here. And that's because of the lack of headroom at the rear. For someone as tall as me, I can easily scrub my head against the roof, which is not that comfortable. When compared to the Nexon, the legroom at the rear hasn't increased in the same proportion because the wheelbase itself has increased by a very minor amount when compared to the increase in length of the car, because all that space has apparently gone into the boot. And it's massive at 500 liters, but the loading lip is quite high and the button to open the tailgate is very small, so you have to really find your way through. There are 4 hooks in the boot and each can take up to 1 kg of weight, and you can fold down the rear seats in 60-40-2. And unfortunately, the center passenger does not get a head. Yes, there is no center headrest, but the Creta doesn't offer it either, so it's still not a good thing. The issues that plague the Curvv EV continue to be of a bother in the ICE version of the Curvv 2, like inconsistent panel gaps, ill-fit finish, like the horn is difficult to press on this particular car, laggy screens, bad placement for the ventilated seat buttons, flimsy sunroof switch, no dead pedal, hard to reach power sockets, no mirror on driver's side sun visor, occasionally non-responsive touch panel that is also prone to scratches, no sunglass holder, weird position of the steering wheel as it is too big and far ahead and is prone to fingerprints, no silver finish on the gear lever for the gear numbers, dated switch gear with no one touch up for the windows and only the driver's side has one touch down. 2 parking sensors on each side instead of 4, lack of cup holders in the center console, but wait, they have a cup holder in the glove box. I mean, do they expect me to keep the glove box open while having coffee? And there's no rear wiper washer because probably it doesn't need it. Use your hands. By the way, Tata seems to have fixed the issue with the powered tailgate. Compared to the Curvv EV which I drove a month back, this petrol version's tailgate closes much faster. It also has gesture control.
Tailgate is open. Please check.
But there is a lot to like too. Like the flush door handles that have a light too, and that too on all the doors. And this car has plenty of kit like a massive 12.3-inch infotainment screen, tire pressure monitor, ambient lighting that also works around the sunroof blind, glowing Tata logo on the steering wheel with multiple buttons to toggle through the instrument cluster, audio and cruise control, keyless entry with a sensor only on the driver's side, push button start, 6-way powered driver's seat, electric parking brake, auto hold function, height adjustable front seat belts, panoramic sunroof, 9-speaker JBL audio system with 8 modes, wireless charging pad, air purifier with a PM 2.5 air filter, 360-degree parking camera with 3D view, front fog lamps, reclining rear seat with isofix mounts, rear AC vents, 6 airbags, level 2 ADAS but there's no lead vehicle departure alert. Fully digital instrument cluster with blind view monitor, and you can also go into full map view here. However, if you have an Apple phone, it only works with Apple Maps. Meanwhile, for Android, it only works with Google Maps. Take that, Audi virtual cockpit, hill descent control, express cooling for the climate control AC, voice commands.
Say a command.
Open sunroof.
Say a command.
अरे बोलने तो दे, मेरे को खुद ही बक करती रहती पूरे टाइम. Open sunroof.
Okay, opening sunroof.
Shukriya. Voice alerts.
Express cooling turned off. Please roll up windows if down.
Connected car tech, auto dimming IRVM, umbrella holders in the front doors, a hook on the co-passenger side for securing a sub-Z, automatic wipers, automatic headlights, sequential turn indicators both at the front and rear, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, and a new key. Essentially, the dashboard is identical to the Nexon EV with the only difference in the Curvv being the steering that comes from the Harrier and Safari, and when compared to the Curvv EV, the interior gets a different color with the top end having burgundy finish on the dashboard, steering, door pads and seat. Looks quite premium. This Curvv is a good all-round package. It has got decent amount of kit, actually it's quite feature loaded, and you will definitely like the design if you are into SUV coupes, but the front could be differentiated a bit more. That said, it does have its fair share of issues and niggles, which hopefully Tata Motors resolves over time. But trust me on this, this is by far the best from Tata Motors yet. But I honestly feel it is the Curvv.EV which is a better bet when compared to the petrol-powered Curvv. However, a diesel is a diesel, and the diesel manual will still be my pick from the Curvv lineup. If you like this video, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye-bye.